morning, class.
Good morning.
Do you guys remember reading this book yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, and what did Stonewall start?
An uprising.
It did start an uprising. So do we remember 2 weeks ago how I introduced the lesson over, we're going to talk about change over time, how communities have changed, how we've gone through different adversities and we've came out stronger. So 2 weeks ago we learned about the women's suffrage movement and how in the 1820s and 30s the women were fighting for their right to vote. And do you remember like how we came back to 2020 and how women are still dealing with a gender bias today? And how we've come such a long way, but we are still making movement. I believe a week ago we talked about the Black Civil Rights Movement and how in the 60s, in the 50s, it was a really, really big part of our history. And now today we are seeing the Black Lives Matter movement like on the streets today. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the LGBTQ community and their uprising, their movement, and how it all started. So, relating back to this book, I want to go over some major discussion points of what happened in the book to kind of refresh everyone's memory. So if you guys please could start thinking about what happened in the book and tell me some major events that happened. So, how did it start? Do you remember?
Stonewall became a restaurant.
It did become a restaurant, and do we remember where that restaurant was?
Greenwich Village.
It was in Greenwich Village.
Did it start as 2 stable houses?
It did. Originally, it was 2 stable houses, and then it turned into a restaurant in Greenwich Village. And in that restaurant in Greenwich Village, what kind of people went there? What happened?
All kinds of people.
All kinds?
Yep.
Did they all look the same?
No.
No. What was different about them?
Some were old, some were young.
Yeah? Did they all believe the same things?
No, they had different religions and cultures.
They did have different religions and cultures. It was a place where all kinds of people could just come and feel very safe. Like they could feel
Accepted.
accepted. That's a great word, Daisy. And so do we remember what happened after the restaurant?
It became a hotel, the Stonewall Inn.
It did become the Stonewall Inn. Okay, and then do you remember what happened next in the story?
Was it that they got a lot of hate?
They did get a lot of hate. Do you guys remember reading about how people would come by and they would say really terrible, awful things and they would beat on the doors because they just didn't want them in there? And then do you remember what happened?
The police raided them.
The police raided them. That is very, very correct, Daisy. And now I'm looking for a specific detail about the police raiding them. What really kind of got the movement started?
The one woman yelled at the crowd.
Yes, the one woman yelled at the crowd. If I do believe she was in handcuffs and she was getting in that police car and she yelled back at the crowd. She said, "Why don't you guys do something?" They were just standing in the street. I probably would have done the same thing. So what did the bystanders in the streets do?
They yelled.
They yelled at who? Did they yell back
The
at the woman?
police.
They yelled at the police, that's correct. Okay, do we have any questions about the sequence of events in the story?
No.
No, okay. So I want to talk over this. So in the beginning, it was the 2 horse stables. That is how it started. And then it became a restaurant, and then it became the Greenwich Village, where all kinds were accepted. So I would like you guys to please partner up with a buddy, and I want you to think about a place where you can be 120% yourselves. Doesn't matter who is there. If you were in that spot, you felt like you were accepted and you could just be who you were. So I am going to give you about 3 minutes to please discuss with your partners about a place that they felt safe. And then when it's time to share our ideas, I'm going to have you share your partner's answers. Any questions? No? Okay, while you guys are discussing, I'm going to grab a tissue to wipe the board.
Mine would be my house with my family. Because I have to be myself. Why do you think football?
Because everybody, no matter who you are, can get made fun of.
Can or can't?
Can. That's why it's equal.
Class.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Let's try it again. Ready? Class.
Yes.
Beautiful job. Okay, so are we all done discussing with our partners?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, now Daisy, could you please tell me what Billy said for his spot where he felt really accepted?
He said the football team.
The football team. And why did Billy say that?
I guess because everyone can get made fun of equally.
I guess that's one way to look at it. Very, very great answer, Billy.
No matter who you are.
Great. And Billy, what did Daisy say?
She said her home with her family
That's a great answer. And why did Daisy say that?
because she can be herself.
Good. That's a great answer, Daisy. I also can be myself in my home. I feel like one place when I was a kid that I could be really accepted, I had a tree house in my backyard. My dad and I actually built a tree house, and I would always go back there whenever I kind of felt like I didn't belong, and then the tree house kind of brought me back. It was a great thing. Okay, so today we're going to learn the bones about the LGBTQ movement. We're really not going to go too into detail, just how we did with the women's rights movement and the Black Lives Matter movement. We just kind of looked at some of the bones and the structures and how they change our community and the individuals in our community. Okay, so if you guys could please pull out your Chromebooks and take notes with me as I go over some events that happened in the movement. When you are done pulling out your Chromebooks and you're ready to take notes, please put your finger on your nose. Okay, I can see everyone has their fingers on their noses. We can take those off now. And so let's get ready to follow along with the notes. So as I went onto Google and I searched the LGBTQ movement, I found 4 events that I think are worth talking about, and they can be used as some examples for what you guys are going to do with your timeline later on. So one of the first examples that I found was December 15th of 1973.
That's almost my birthday.
It is almost your birthday, but I don't think you were born in 1973, were you?
No.
No, that's funny. So December 15th, 1973, the American Psychiatric Association had decided to take homosexuality off their list of mental illnesses. And I think that's a huge step towards the LGBTQ movement. It really means that they can love who they love and they didn't get punished for it. So the next event that I found that was worth talking about was May 18th, 2004. So on May 18th, 2004, Massachusetts became the first state to individually legalize same-sex marriage. I thought this was pretty cool because I didn't know that they could do it without not getting the whole nation behind it, and I think it's pretty cool that Massachusetts decided to legalize the marriage. So then the next date that I want to talk about is September 21st, 1996. Okay? On this day, Bill Clinton signed the Defense of the Marriage Act, which meant that if a same-sex couple got married in Massachusetts and then they decided to go to Kansas, Kansas was not required to see them as a married couple.
Oh no.
That is, oh no. And then one of the last events that I thought was worth talking about was June 26th. Nope, yep, June 26th, 2015. And this is when the Supreme Court decided or declared that same-sex marriage would be legalized nationwide. Okay, with these lists of events, do you guys notice something funny? Maybe that they're not in order.
Yeah.
So what would go first if we were wanting to put these in order?
December 1573.
Great job, Daisy. That is number 1. What would go second?
September 21st, 1996.
Great job, Billy. What would go third?
May 18th of 2004.
Great job. And Billy, what would go last?
June 26th, 2015.
Great job. Okay, so what we just did is we put all 4 events in chronological order. That is something that's really important when you guys start to make your timelines, is they have to be in chronological order. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. I'd like to talk about the illustrations in this book. So as we talked, Greenwich Village was a place where people could really be whoever they wanted to be. Okay?
Wow.
Musicians played in the streets, poets performed in the restaurants, and artists painted in their studios. Okay? And here's the book where at the end, you can see that there are all different kinds of people that came together,
Wow.
decided to meet new friends, talk to old friends. There were veterans and business people.
They look happy.
They do look happy. That's a great detail to point out, Daisy.
There was a guy dancing with a guy.
There was a guy dancing with a guy over here. And the reason that that is so important is because in this Stonewall Inn, they felt like they could truly be themselves. They didn't have to hide. They didn't have to dance with someone they didn't want to dance with just because it was normal. Okay, then the other photo that I would really like to talk about is when you guys talked about how someone yelled at the crowd and then the crowd yelled at the police. Do you see this woman right there?
Yes.
That is the woman that got the whole thing started. Okay. So I'm going to introduce your assignment. So here I've created a timeline that has the first event as Stonewall and the last event as June 26, 2015. I would like you guys to please, first off, find more information about the 2 events that I talked about. We briefly just kind of covered them. You guys can talk about your Stonewall reading experience, and you can do more research on the 2015 Supreme Court decision. And then within the middle of these 2, I would like you guys to find 2 events that you think is like worth talking about. You want to do a little bit more research on. We don't have to go super in depth, but I would like you guys to explain your event and just understand what's going on. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Any questions on your assignments again?
No.
No.
Cool.
2 events?
2 events.
Okay.
Okay, and I would like you guys to maybe illustrate at least 2 of them out of the 4 that you will have in total.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Good job, class.